spots, it was actually only 3 jungle exits to avoid against ganks, and that's when everyone started ganking through the lane. But if you're just worried about early jungle ganks, you don't have to worry about that.
So it looks like we are going to get that swap in here. Galio is helping with the blue buff. I don't think he got it, but he could have taken it. Yeah, you don't need it on Mundo, but he is going to grab it up. Cutie Pie in the lane by himself. He's not going to get that chance to pressure out Hotshot as we saw him do previously in his game when he went 8-0 on Draven and then some. But we'll see what they can do as they start off the lane. Chaucer is showing. I don't think he was seen, but they just show himself and maybe for some pressure. Look at this in blue buff, though. Right.
They're just making sure that they get wards on both of Dignitas's main buffs. So they knew that Crumbs took red, which meant they knew it was safe to go ward the blue. But Crumbs has the ward on Chaucer. They're going in.
Oh, a great ward right below that Baron is going to allow this to happen, but it's a 3v3 here at 3 minutes into the game. Afromoo and Chaucer taking quite a bit of damage, both to 200 health, but nobody's focused double lift yet. He's able to dish out some good damage to Kiwi Kid. Everybody backs off of the nail biter at 3 minutes.
Wow, and a couple people were still level 1 during that engagement, so they couldn't really fight with much, right? Like, they tried to run by each other, and then they just kind of ran out of skills and walked away. But a bunch of summoner spells were burned in that whole engagement. All flashes and ghosts for Dignitas for the 3 that were there. And then you look at CLG, and the only flash that's still up is double lift. So, huge trade. That is a flash up for CLG.
Skara could get some damage done to him here. It looks like he could make it out. A great dodge on the infected cleaver. Chaucer's going to get one in just a few seconds. They actually flash over for him. The charm isn't there for Ahri just yet. No, she actually missed the charm, but they are able to pick up first blood. Great aggression from CLG.
And even though we're 3 minutes, 40 seconds into the game and everyone's level 2, that chains off their level 1 strat. It's just a continuation of them getting the pink ward on the blue buff, knowing that they could invade freely without having vision on themselves, knowing that they burnt all the flashes and ghosts from Dignitas, and hammering it through again to get the first blood.
There we go. We're going to see Crumbs going on to Chaucer now. He sees that low HP. He has the red buff. Chaucer only has his blue, but those cleavers keep him alive. Great mindset to just walk out of that one.
Once Crumbs closed onto Chaucer, there's a very long rank 1 cooldown on his Vault Breaker. Even with the blue buff, Crumbs has got to wait 14 seconds for that Q dash to come back again. So he just harassed Chaucer down, knows he's going back, and he's trying desperately to counter jungle a bit and get ahead of Chaucer.
Yeah, Cutie Pie bringing it back. He has 2 Dorans. Will he go for a 3rd one? But they're really just going for strong aggression in lane. He wants to chunk out Hotshot.
And there's been so much early jungle action that we haven't really been able to talk about how these 2v1s are going to play out. But there's actually a couple different ways you can approach this 2v1 lane. There's like the TSM style, where you just look to get harass on and do the tower dive. There's what we saw last game from Curse, where they try to kill the turret at like 4 minutes. Then there's also the other style, where you're trying to legitimately shut down the one-person laner. Because last game, Voyboy and Zion Spartan still got a whole bunch of farm, because the 2v1 ended so quickly. But if Dignitas decides to really extend, or even CLG tries to really extend this 2v1 laning phase, you'll start to see some legitimate disadvantages from Hotshot and Kiwi Kid's surface.
Well, Patoy and Cutie Pie played this really well. They both went for a ton of pots in lane, and they're just throwing themselves at Hotshot, making sure that he has to use all of his mana on at least just Patoy. You can see he was forced back out of that lane, has just teleported back now. We'll just see how much Patoy tries to harass him here.
And if you're Dignitas here, you know that Kiwi Kid needs to get farmed on Singed if he wants to be able to be that solo threat later. So Dignitas should want to push this turret down fairly quickly, because the longer they're in this 2v1 situation, I think the better it is for CLG.
And they have that forward ward placed behind Hotshot, so they're quite safe from the counter gank. Patoy goes to put the river safety ward down as well. Hotshot now compared up, actually 19-19 on CS with Kiwi Kid, so they're handling those 2v1 lanes. Look at them.
Yeah, I gotta say that's a pretty big accomplishment by Kiwi Kid. The fact that I think Galio is the much stronger 2v1 laner, it probably has to do with all the action that happened in the Dignitas jungle during the blue steal, which has allowed him to kind of pick up the 19 CS, but it is a good sign for him as the lane continues that he hasn't fallen too far behind.
As we look around, really nobody's even been back to buy yet, unless it was just another Doran's, as we've pointed out those purchases already. The regeneration stones quickly instead of the Madrids coming out for the junglers has been quite different.
And that's just a factor of Vi. He's going to be going for that Lizard Elder item, and we really haven't seen that much jungle Dr. Mundo.
Yeah.
He does want to stack the health, honestly. Like, he could go with the Madrid's Razor, but he does a lot of damage anyway with his cleavers and his burn for the jungle. So whatever Chaucer really decides to do, he's got 2 points in his Burning Agony on Dr. Mundo right now, so he's really just trying to AoE clear the jungle. I really want to see how he develops his skill build on Mundo.
one turret is really what's giving them the gold lead from that bottom lane. Only 600 gold right now, but it's going to allow a bit of different pressure around the map. Counter Logic did lose their turret first in the last matchup, but they weren't able to grab one the whole time. We'll see if they can thwart that aspect, grab some turrets, and really get that global map objective going.
And if you look at Patoy's items right now, he's using that global gold they picked up from the turret to get that early gold per 10 item, so he's really going to try to pull significantly ahead of Aphromoo in gold later on in the game. You really see the dragon golds and the turret golds impact the junglers and the supports more than anyone else, because they're the ones that are less able to generate their own gold from the lane. So like if Doublelift and CLG doesn't get objectives, he can still steal a bunch of farm and get his items, but you don't see the same difference in supports and junglers.
See what's going on between the 2v1 lanes a little bit. The CS still seems to be quite even between those two, and even with the AD carries, so nobody's really trying to pressure anything or make moves just yet. That dragon is yet to be taken, or even yet to see any of the champions on the map, so he's quite lonely. 8 minutes into the game, good warning by Patoy still. They're keeping themselves safe, throwing seeds over the wall because he is out of wards, but they're still going to be able to just keep pressuring this bottom lane. And
this is kind of a curious choice by Dignitas, I'd have to say. Like, they took the turret, and if they were to rush back to top lane and get Kiwi Kid out of that top lane on Singed, they would be able to keep their one turret advantage and keep that global gold edge. But because they're staying bottom with Hotshot, Kiwi Kid, even though he's actually not falling too far behind on CS, is probably going to lose that turret. And it is a bit of a struggle. I feel like if Kiwi Kid was against Galio, he'd be getting the free farm. But Color Me Pink, it's because of that they're able to take the dragon, so I guess it's all planned.
There's the damage down on the bottom. It's exactly what they needed, and we may just see what you were talking about now if they decide to go to that top lane after it looks like they're going to take golems. No, they're just actually straight backing.
Just a lesson on how to make a fool of yourself strategically. It's like, I have no idea why they have their AD carry bottom. Oh, yeah, the dragon.
There's something down there. He was lonely, yes. So we see Skara moving through the jungle here. Kiwi Kid throws on his ultimate, but it kind of deters them. Looks like Skara actually just going for his blue, and he's going to have to return back to that mid lane unless Crumbs does it for him. And
all that early game pressure that CLG had on Dignitas's buffs has pretty much disappeared, right? Dignitas took a lot of control of the game with the, I guess, superior 2v1 matchup, which surprises me in the most.
Wow,
and wow, that is too much damage.
The Spirit Fire, or Spirit Dash coming in. What? How is that so far? Skara just threw a Hail Mary intervention. I swear that was out of range.
Oh,
no, Crumbs, what are you doing? Go back there. Close the store and run. Oh my gosh, no.
That is just a whole bunch of emotions all at once, and now they might be in danger of getting tower dove. They have to just back away because they know Chowster's in the jungle now.
Feeling all the feels here for this team. Dignitas makes it out of this one with one down, and the turret going down top as well.
So that was just, no, like that, Crumbs was
there?
So, like, first off, he was just trying to run back into the lane to get farm, and it was a brilliant play by Link to catch him out and know he was coming through that chokeway so he could get the charm off and spike all the damage down. Then Link thought he had the kill for sure. He was going to throw the last auto attack and walk away, but Skara comes from the abyss and lands a perfect Kale ult on him, and Crumbs is like, yes, I am safe now. But Chowster was, was 2 steps ahead of everybody else.
Oh man, Chowster keeping the pressure on. You got to do the follow-up. Came up with a kill for himself. So that gives him actually the only 2 kills of the game are to Chowster, are to that Dr. Mundo in the jungle. So he is completely making an impact on this game. Doublelift getting a little bit of harass down in the bottom lane. It's only going to be him. It is Alistar just on the outside. And Aphromoo going to get there in time. Can he headbutt him out? The Pulverize to stop the attack. And Doublelift is actually forced to use his cleanse. So he's still in a dangerous position in the next engage.
That's still a bit of a win for Kiwi Kid. He's immediately put his stamp on that lane, says, I'm going to push wherever I want, and then the rest of the team is going to be able to get pressure from that, because he immediately knew that there were 2 members from there, and Dignitas already has the members up in mid to push.
So we have in the top lane, as they go, I'm just looking at the inventory list, not the top lane, but as they go for mid, that tier onto Rise as he keeps taking that off. Kiwi Kid just stacking up the mana so he can run around all day with his poison on. The Nashor's coming in for Skara in middle. Do have that quick BF sword going in for Cutie Pie after he rushed the Dorans.
Yeah, it does look like Skara will be going for the Nashor's Tooth. He's just sitting on the Stinger right now, of course, though. Just cooldown reduction attack speed is really, really huge for Kale. That's one of the main things she's doing, but this is the pressure from Dignitas that is really trying to counter the CLG split push. Hotshot's not going to have presence if he's continually turtling his turret like this. Here comes maybe a 3-man dive, or they're just going for the turret.
I mean, he has the ultimate, but it's just going to be in vain. He's going to save it for the next fight, and he goes down.
Hotshot just succumbed to his fate there. He was like, maybe he was going to try to catch Crumbs in a Galio ult and get the kill, but there were too many people there. Too much suppression and root just coming straight out of Crumbs.
I think I heard ball work, but I think he kind of just curled up in a ball and let that happen.
And that's another turret that's going to be going to Dignitas 2-1 now.
So we're going to see more global gold coming into effect. That's 1,000, but they're about to negate that here. This bottom will definitely drop. They have a good minion wave there with damage. And you can see Counter Logic forcing the pressure in this jungle, just creeping out any champions that are in it, pushing them out to the lanes and making sure they know exactly where Dignitas is right now. Cutie Pie, however, pushing that top lane in.
An eye for an eye. They saw the 3 members top and just immediately went bottom with 4. And now CLG might try to continue this push, but Dignitas is countering with 3 as Skara pushes up mid. So lots of turret killing, not many player kills.
Yeah, they're keeping their distance from the champions, like you said, but it's all about the turrets right now. They're trying to find that gold before they find the team fights. And it looks like Dignitas is able to save that second-tier turret on the bottom side. Skara was pinching in from top. They see him with those Wraith wards, and you see CLG taking that into consideration.
And in the bottom, CLG has invaded with the pink ward since they had so much freedom when they went down to get those bottom turrets that they're now trying to take another buff, and Chowster did get it with Smite.
Looks like they're going to back off, leave the small ones. Cutie Pie still wreaking havoc up top, but he hasn't really gotten himself any advantage here. He's not up that much in CS, and he hasn't done too much damage to that turret, so they're going to need him for a fight if it comes up soon.
I still like the laning position of I'm a Cutie Pie being 1v1 against Hotshot GG. It was GGU versus Vulcan in our last game last week, where Don't Mash Me was just up against a Renekton for like 20 minutes, but he just became nuclear because an 80 carry farm is better than the Renekton farm by the end of the game. I think the same thing would apply here with I'm a Cutie Pie versus Hotshot.
It also works out great because stand aside, he can just completely dash that teleport in if Hotshot wants to get into a fight. But here in the mid, we see a lot of aggression from CLG. The slow onto Crumbs as they get a little bit of poke damage out, and this poke damage is just going to eventually spell the turret and possibly an engage, but this is when the other team usually wants it. The cooldowns have been spent a bit. The assault and battery on a double lift. Can he get the cleanse off? He looks like to go down here. Cutie Pie's on the outside. Nobody's focusing him. Can he catch up to Link? The axe is there. One more. He's forced to turn, and Afro's forced to flash. He gets off the attacks, though. The triple kill for Skara.
He had just completed the Gnasher's Tooth before that fight, and that was really won by Crumbs's assault and battery on Vi. A little known or almost overlooked fact about that ultimate is it will knock aside anyone in the path, and since he picked a CLG member in the back of the team, he crowd controlled 2 of them and just bowling balled his way through, which really allowed them the window for Patoy to get down to Zyra ult. They got the knockups. That fight was over almost before it started as soon as Crumbs used that ult.
And Doublelift knew after he flashed that it was still everything going down. He didn't even use cleanse that fight. And although it's an up and down, he's not going to be able to cleanse the Vi out. He was still super slowed there.
Ooh, Hotshot, though, trying to harass this. CLG is coming back, and they know that Dignitas expended a lot of cooldowns.
Oh, he wants that positioning on the Idol of Durant, trying to get his ultimate in. They're able to take one down. He goes for the flash, cleansed off by Cutie Pie. He doesn't have much mana, but he still tries to kite in a bit of damage, throws out the ult, hits just about the entire team back and forth.
Crumbs wants to steal this.
He does, back on the other side. They can charm him out of the... Oh, they charm him out of the Vault Breaker. He can't get it in. Gets himself away, though, so he expends the exhaust. This will be great for the next fight. But if he can make it out alive, we've seen the video on YouTube. How good Vi is at kiting? It looks like Crumbs may throw himself to the fire here. He puts himself back into CLG, and he's going to go ahead, go down there. But that was great. He's kind of keeping their attention. They're still going to try to grab some buffs, though.
These guys are playing really aggressively for both of these teams. I mean, last week Dignitas seemed to play it slow. They took an early game advantage, and then they just kind of were able to split push and win. CLG at the same time loves actually playing kind of the same way. If they can just outfarm the lanes, they're happy with it. But you can tell how prepared these guys are, because this is not something you'd see from CLG normally. Like, once Dignitas kind of had control, CLG knew immediately how to get back into it with those dragon plays, and Skara has to look out because he has no idea that Aphromoo, Link, and Chowster are coming for him.
Oh, not enough wards. I don't think he was looking at all. He's charmed into that one. Will he even use his ultimate here? No. Yeah, he does, but he's still going to be going down. Interventions used, but he goes. 4-6 now at 16.5 minutes in the game.
But look at that. Skara did like 60 to 70% of Link's health, and Dignitas wants to push up with this. But in the bottom lane, we have more action as well.
It looks like it could be all about Kiwi Kid, and he keeps himself alive here. Doublelift, again, forced to use his cleanse in a fight. It looks like he's very low after that engagement, so the 2v1's not even going in favor of these guys. Hotshot was forced to teleport down there. Like you said, Jack, Kiwi Kid can put his stamp on that lane. In any 2v1 situation he's been presented with, he's come out on top.
And you just look at how close this game really is. It's 1 dragon to 1, 3 turrets to 3, and then the 2 kills would be about a 900 total gold advantage. So, like, minion-wise, it's almost identical. Everything else is almost identical, aside from the 2 kills.
We see now 17 minutes in, the junglers have chosen not to do anything with the stones just yet. The Giant's Belt, however, was grabbed by Mundo, but that looks like it's going, into a Warmogs.
So that is the best item to rush on Dr. Mundo. He's got it now. It's mainly because his passive generates so much extra health. So now he can just leave, Mundo can just leave his W1 all the time in the jungle and just fast clear it for the rest of the game, as well as giving the oracles for CLG with all the positional tactical play that CLG's been trying to pull out. Getting that 17.5-minute oracles could be really, really key.
Well, look what happened to Skara just now. They realized that, guys, we weren't sitting on a ward in the jungle, and they're not warding. Let's make that advantage happen even more. The oracles at 17 minutes, it's quite an investment now that it only lasts 5 minutes itself. Usually you only see that for Baron attempts.
And it is 18 minutes. CLG does have a lot of Baron damage. It could be some type of play that they're thinking of making, but maybe, like, with both teams having the outer 3 turrets down, you actually very rarely see this particular scenario. Since neither of the teams really have a lead, neither of the teams necessarily have to turtle, and there's just so much open space that needs to have vision on it, that makes the oracles pick up even better, even if they're not looking to force a Baron.
And there are the Seeds trying to act as a ward. So they have a few more tricks up their sleeve as Patoy trying to keep his team safe from the support position. They look to clear out this wave. They have good siege clearing capability. Not the greatest with Kale, but they are able to get that first amount of wave down. You can see only a little bit of poke to the turret coming from Zuna coming from Doublelift rather. And we see Kiwi Kid and Hotshot kind of battling out back and forth. Nothing really happening between the 2 tanks right now. He gathers back together with his team around the red chat. They look to just completely stop the advantages that Dignitas wants to grab here.
And with everything going on, now that it's a 400 gold lead for CLG, they have done really well at controlling Dignitas's rune camps, right? The red buff and the blue buff have generally gone to CLG, and CLG has been mostly the aggressor in this match.
So, usually one of Skara's favorite items coming out here. We see the Abyssal Scepter first on Ahri, coming in with that Giant's Belt as they move on to this mid-turret. Does that cause Ahri to act as more of utility for a team? Actually, we have an engagement here. The Assault and Battery once again onto Doublelift. He does use the cleanse this time. The Bulwark is on from Hotshot. This one looks good. A full idol of Durand goes down. Dignitas losing their health rapidly, and they are perfectly microing each other in and out to exchange the damage. The turret is taking damage as well as Dignitas. Perfect execution there. They did lose Afromu, but sometimes the cow has to go down.
And I'm a Cutie Pie actually just kind of sniped after Doublelift, and he wants to keep going!
Oh, there he goes. We do see them trying to re-engage onto this fight. Doublelift in the death chamber here. Cutie Pie, that smile on his face, and they're like, what kind of just happened?
Yeah, I mean, we talked in the pregame about, like, Doublelift used to be the one who was better in CS, and they would make, like, bad decisions in team fights. That was a bad decision in a team fight by I'm a Cutie Pie. He really thought he was invincible on Draven. I mean, it's part of Draven's personality that he can take on anyone.
Yeah.
That was a little much.
A little too much. Kind of got in the Kiwi Kid mentality there. We have to see as they clear this top wave out. CLG trying to gain some ground. A 2,000 gold lead. I think this is the most we've seen in this game. Very close, even though it's very back and forth within these fights. 4 to 3 turrets as CLG finally grabs that lead as well. And they look to just push every lane out here, get back. We'll see what core items come out in the inventories and how this next fight can play out.
And it might be a lot like the last fight we just saw if they decide to fight again, because that was such a good counter initiation by CLG. Crumbs dove all the way through, and then the rest of Dignitas tried to, like, kind of just move up to start going with that, and that's immediately when Hotshot put down his Galio ultimate and caught 4. That's really what swung it. Link was just flying around with his magic resist reduction aura from Abyssal Scepter and making the Galio ult do kind of even more for them. So that was a very, very good fight by CLG. Doublelift is going for the Infinity Edge route, which will be more late game damage than Amakudi Pie's Bloodthirster route if they get there, since their farm is really comparable. And Now they're going to be taking a Dragon while Dignitas pushes up mid.
Very great job, and this could be the initiation from the backside here, but they do also have Kiwi Kid on their back, so if they choose to initiate, they have one more. Hotshot chooses to teleport in, actually. They're not really going to need that for too much within the next few minutes, so he goes ahead and makes sure to play super safe on the mid turret. They are still pushing. You can see the wards continuously just giving them vision. They're actually walking beside them parallel in mid lane right now, just keeping them forced out of the lane, and they're going to have to try to pinch themselves in.
They're kind of just keeping each other at bay,
yeah,
making sure that they can't get the turret pushes and making sure nothing sneaky really happens. But now that the ultimates are kind of back up, Crumbs has got his assault and battery. There's the Idol of Durand on Hotshot's Galio. Like, this same fight we saw last time could happen again if Dignitas tries to initiate.
CLG now looking at the front of the base of Dignitas. A lot of wards sit behind them, covering the entire map. Once again, the initiation on. Can they peel once again off? Here comes the Idol of Durand from Hotshot. He throws it down, but he's instantly knocked out of it. The damage won't happen. Hotshot taking so much from Cutie Pie. He cleans him out. Double lift with such low health. The focus onto him. Kiwi Kid able to grab that one with the poison tick, and CLG is forced out of this one.
And the couple key differences of why that fight went to Dignitas, whereas the last one didn't. Doublelift burned his flash to get away from Vi the first time, and Hotshot burned his flash to Galliowalt the first time as well. So Hotshot was slowly walking in for that Galliowalt, which gave I'm a Cutie Pie enough time to say, I think you're going to use it now. And he used Stand Aside, knocked him out of it immediately. Doublelift and was getting trained by not only Crumbs, but also Kiwi Kid Singed, and it just wasn't enough for CLG. When they get their flash cooldowns back, they might turn it again, but that was definitely a win for DiG.
There are beautiful engage and disengage counters to these fights. You see Nunu and Karthus being used to peel for the AD carry, but the Idol of Durand coming from Hotshot, and then again, you say the Stand Aside from Cutie Pie. So these guys using everything 110% to its full capacity to make these fights go in their favor. Amazing to watch, the grudge match that we wanted to see, Jad.
I gotta say, LCS Week 3 is turning out awesome. The first game of the week with Vulcan taking out CLG. I don't think anybody expected that. Like, no. Vulcan was 0-5 coming into this week, and CLG looked really good in the first week, only dropping a game to Curse. With the way they prepare, with how much history they have, the talent on their team, that loss was totally unexpected. And then our kind of key matchup of the day is turning out to be awesome.
So much awesome here. 24 minutes into the game, still the gold lead near 1,000 gold, 10-8. 4-4 in turrets as that has been evened up. The latest bit of action definitely having more on Dignitas' side. They're looking to grab some ground right now, but we still see that what I've been calling the light bright coming out from CLG. They completely ward everything around the map. Hotshot to clear out the wards. We could see that big objective soon.
And they're trading oracles, really. Like, Hotshot picking up oracles on his solo top champion really is just an embodiment of his mentality as a top laner. Back in Season 2, you'd pretty much only ever see supports and junglers trade off with oracles, but Hotshot understands that sometimes he is the utility man and that Doublelift is more of a carry for CLG than AD carries are for other teams. They channel more farm into him. So him picking up oracles on Galio says, I don't necessarily need to become the top lane carry myself. I'm going to help the team more by picking up this oracles right now.
See, we have Kiwi Kid in the top lane. He's going to back right now. He just does decide to back. He stopped it for a second, but he does know that his team needs him. The home guard onto Kiwi Kid, so he'll be able to get back into the fight quite quickly here as CLG looks to put pressure on the first inhibitor turret. They have got a few pokes onto it recently in their attacks, but will it be Crumbs? He just walks up there and pretty much telegraphs the engagement, but they don't care. They feel they're that strong.
The flashes are back for Doublelift and Hotshot, so this could be the third fight we see in the same position for them. A lot of the big items have been completed, as you were saying, but no Frozen Heart yet on Hotshot GG, which will be a big one. The Rylai's being completed onto Kiwi Kid Singed is really, really big. I mean, the AD carries are actually really comparable in items right now. The Leandry's on Skara is huge as well, but the Oracle's control is coming in on CLG here. They're trying to catch Dignitas out of position.
Kiwi Kid takes a bit of damage from the full set that Link gives out from Ari. Almost down to half health there, and really they're just looking to bait this one out. Jat, they want to play that mind game on the Baron Boogie, and I don't think they're going to try to go for it just yet.
Patoy can continually scout with his plants if the wards keep getting taken out by Hotshot GG, but these teams are not really happy settling with any trades. There's constantly action in this game. They don't want to play the Baron Boogie. They're going to play the inhibitor dance, and now there might be a disengage.
Link wanted that. The Foxfire was on, and they were just sitting there poised to go in. A good grasping route there just keeps everyone at bay for now. And you're right, chat. Usually we'll see this go out and they'll dance it out for about 2 minutes and you need to get your pillow and get some coffee to stay awake. But instant Dignitas move. They said, you're going to play with us? We'll play with you. Let's start to push mid.
It's really awesome. I mean, there's the ward repeated again by CLG, so maybe we'll see the cyclical movement now if Dignitas goes mid again, but there's something different at every step. CLG knows the blue buff is up again, and just like the rest of the game, their buff control of Dignitas' jungle is huge. As Batoy's warding around the back, it's just a lot of action. That's a pretty good route.
Wow, he's putting himself in a great spot. Here we go, the initiation. Assault and battery, but it's on to Chowster. Can Mundo keep himself alive even with the ultimate on? Good damage so far. They find Crumbs, the 5v4 now, but very low HP on Counter Logic's side. Allows for the initiation from Dignitas here. Scar running free. Cutie Pie running free. It's going to be a kill for Kiwi Kid, and it looks like CLG is scattering now. Link gets caught up in a beautiful route there as Scara comes up with a kill, and it looks like they may be able to finish this off. A great save there. Afromoon now the last to go down to Kathy, and Surprise will not do enough damage, and a beautiful ace coming from Dignitas.
The patience that Scara showed in that fight, saving his Kale ultimate until the very end, when Doublelift and Cutie kind of squared off right at the end of that fight, and everyone was like, this is going to be the brawl that's going to decide everything. The ultimate came in from Scar, and he just appeared. He had his flash and his intervention that entire fight, and it really caught CLG off guard. This could spell another turret for Dignitas, and there's the gold lead.
And they are going to crush that down, backing out quickly. Like you said, the gold lead, about 2,000 now in favor of DiG. That dragon is up, the Baron is up, and I think with the time that they have, they can easily grab that dragon right fast as, yes, Crumb's heading for that. He's not even going to need any help there. More gold coming in for Dignitas.
So the way the farm is kind of channeling out for these guys, Cutie Pie's got the 5 kills onto Draven. That gives him a 400 gold advantage over Doublelift's Kog'Maw. It's just, that's probably like the biggest edge you're kind of seeing. Crumbs is about 700 gold behind Chowster, 6,900 to 7,600, but like, this game is still incredibly close. I'd say Dignitas is starting to come back because they are team fighting a little bit better, but this is still ridiculously close.
And it looks like, you know, we see a lot of people just grabbing what's been happening, kind of rubbing off. The supports now both grabbing the mobility boots. I like it.
That is an interesting choice. I mean, for Afromu, it's kind of about the Alistair initiation.
Right.
If he sits at the back of a fight, almost kind of Patoy style, and waits for the right headbutt pulverize, it's going to help him get into his engagement range. And once Alistair is there, he doesn't give a damn. Like, he doesn't care what he's moved or if you can CC him, so that's all he's really caring about. And for Patoy,
even looking for
he's just playing Zyra. He just wants to roam the map.
You get that Morello Namicon in there as well, trying to get himself some damage assist for the team here as the Oracle's going out for Patoy. I think anybody else has one in inventory. They do not. We're going to get these cleared out now. Dignitas trying to gain some ground. They know that last fight completely going in their favor. That's usually what an ace means when it comes up on your screen. So they're using that time now, but they're playing very safe. Power in 5s. They do not want to let anybody walk off alone here.
And Doublelift hasn't been able to involve himself kind of fully in these fights. Kiwi Kid has been such a nuisance staying at the back of fights. They've been able to focus down Crumbs when he dives in, but it just hasn't been enough because the backline damage from CLG, or from Dignitas, will keep coming in. And round 14 of them poking up in the mid lane, we might see an initiation. These teams have not been afraid to go.
Ooh, Hotshot taking a good, or Scar rather, taking a good amount of damage there from the Orb of Deception. Is Link just trying to throw out that poke damage as they kite down the lane. Counter Logic doesn't want this head-on battle right off the bat. You can see them roaming. They don't have Doublelift right now. And once Doublelift is seen in that bottom lane, we could see Dignitas go crazy here.
Doublelift is racing to try to get his last Whisper so he can actually shred through some of the diving damage, but he's still a good 500 gold away, and he has to make a break for this Baron because Dignitas is taking it down pretty quickly. CLG's around the back. They might not be able to make this in time unless they try to steal.
Can he throw down the Idol of Durand? If he can get it, he throws down Bulwark. The Baron goes down, however, and it is going to be going to Dignitas. A big fight coming in as Hotshot won't be able to help his team, but Kiwi Kid's caught out. So many abilities, however, were wasted on Singe. Do they have enough left? We'll find out here as they re-engage. All the way Assault Breaker coming in here, or Vault rather, for Link, and it looks like they're going to be going back into Afromu. The intervention on a Cutie Pie coming up huge from the outside. It's just going to be Dignitas cleaning this one up. Cutie Pie and Scara still left standing as the biggest carries.
So Dignitas and Scara plus Cutie Pie in particular fooled CLG twice. Like, that was the Baron play They got it. CLG came in, thought they'd won the fight. And again, when I'm a Cutie Pie looked vulnerable and Doublelift looked to duel I'm a Cutie Pie, the intervention was there again, and it gave them the ace. There's still 3 members of them with the Baron. They just took down the inhibitor, and I think Dignitas finally has control, but it's because of the clutch usage of Kale's intervention, and I'm a Cutie Pie just having the balls to stand there and trusting Scar to use it on him.
Well, that's I'm a Cutie Pie for you, right? He knows what he has to do in the fight, the max amount of damage, even if he's going down, but it's really attributed to Skara, just his play this game. I swear to God, he has found a way to throw intervention farther than it reaches. They have been coming out of nowhere. A few times he's completely off the map when we see it just in the fog of war for his team, but it's making a huge impact for this team. At 18-14 now, 32 minutes into the game. Our highest gold score of week 3 so far, 50,000 to 45,000 between these two teams. Finally, that gold lead has pressed on to 5,000 for Dignitas. They have that turret on the inhibitor in mid, so they're going to have a lead there as well. CLG looking for a way to find themselves back into this one. They're not out of it, but their initiation hasn't been there. Who's it going to come from? Hotshot usually just has to walk in when he doesn't have flash, so it's kind of like they can only initiate in that window.
And it's one of those things that, looking at how all the team fights have started, it's usually been Crumbs. Like, Dignitas is the ones that are deciding when to fight, so once CLG gets pushed back, they're still going to be at the mercy of that Dignitas dive. With the way the fights are kind of playing out, though, Doublelift and CLG are feeling like they're winning the fights until the very end. What's happening, though, is Scar is staying safe throughout so much of it that he's coming in at the end, getting the intervention on I'm a Cutie Pie, and they're finishing it off. So what CLG kind of needs to adapt to, and I don't know exactly how they're going to do this, but it has to do something with Link or something with Hotshot, finding ways to pressure Skara, so Skara has to use intervention on himself so they can kill I'm a Cutie Pie for being in silly positions. If they don't do that, I don't see why Dignitas wouldn't just continue pulling off their strategy of making the invulnerable I'm a Cutie Pie at crucial moments.
These turrets are all Dignitas's right now. Their name is just written on the top of them as CLG watch them go down. 6-4 in turrets now. The entire CLG team just kind of hovering around whatever lane is being pushed. They know a fight is imminent, and Dignitas wants to pressure this. They have 1 minute left on this Baron as they continue to push every lane. And
this is a bit of an aside, but not having an Aegis of the Legion or Runic Bulwark against what is essentially, even though it's a damage over time double AP team, it is a double AP team from Dignitas.
Yep.
CLG kind of ran into the same issue when they were eating the Nidalee Spears in the last game. If someone could find a way to build that item, I know Aframu's kind of choked on gold, but if they can get that item at some point for anyone on their team, it'll make such a huge difference for them in team fights. I think it might be too late for them to develop that, though.
You can even see how Patoy, he is getting tanky as well, going for the Seeker's arm guard for himself, even an Elixir, because they know this next fight could be the last one. They're putting everything into it.
I like the way Patoy rushed for the Morellonomicon, really. It just gives him so much cooldown reduction to spam out his spells, and also the hit reduction.
Oh, wow.
That could be a pretty big thing, though. That was a cleanse burn for almost nothing, so CLG knows they have some kind of things, and Hotshot just used his ultimate on nothing. He misclicked. That is going to be huge.
Is not what you want to do, so we'll have to see what he can do. You see him talking with the team, probably a few sorries in there as well, and I can't believe why Kiwi Kid is not smiling after that.
And Dignitas had a ward in the base, so I think they saw that.
Cutie Pie taking a good amount of damage. Hotshot putting himself in the front, though, as a deterrent. They did see it, and they're actually playing off of it, outplaying that. Yes, my brain works. Chouster trying to push this one off. The seeds go out in the beginning. They're just trying to stop the siege on this turret. When is pushing a push lane too much? They're not getting anything out of this, really.
It's not too much as long as they're getting incremental damage. They know that Hotshot's ultimate is down for at least another 45 seconds, and here goes the turret. This is just such a bad situation for CLG to be in.
It looks like they may be able to get enough damage. Will they focus that inhibitor? No, they throw Link right into the fight. He's forced to flash out. He goes down instantly. They're just trying to attack Crumbs and Kiwi Kid right now, but that's all they're given. Beautiful positioning by Dignitas here. The intervention onto Kiwi Kid. He throws back Doublelift. They can't even get into a position to fight back right now. They're just turning and clicking, and it's Dignitas coming up huge. A 2 for 4, and they have the Nexus turrets in their sight, chat.
And even though Crumbs is 1-7 in this game, he's got 17 assists. He was a creator for them this game. I think Dignitas is going to try to push this one out, but Chowster's being as big of a pain as possible. Maybe they'll get these last turrets.
He can't even go up to really Cutie Pie to take the damage. He's just trying to pressure out Batoy. They're watching the Nexus turrets go down. They start to focus on the Nexus. No, they want Chowster first, and now they will Jat. The Nexus is at half. Dignitas continues their momentum with another win.
So that move